Hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. This is Sandi Ballard, your hostess, and I appreciate you listening, connecting with me on any of the social media outlets, and for sharing, especially for sharing this podcast. So it's really cool to hear from all of you around the world. And that's how I've heard from all of you around the world, is that you all just keep sharing this. So thank you. And make sure when you do connect with me on social media, you let me know that you're a listener. Appreciate that. That's always fun. So last week, you were rubbing your belly and patting your head, right? If this is your first time, you need to go back and listen to that one. Just trying to keep things going. Remember as kids, rubbing your belly, patting your head? And really the whole point is that no matter how many times when we were kids trying to learn that, you had a friend or maybe a group of friends trying to teach you, and you just laughed. You laughed and kept going, right? You kept trying. So why as adults do we get so frustrated so easily or pass judgment when we see somebody else doing it wrong, whatever it is? Why do we give up so quickly and say, screw it, I'll never be good at that? I have a client right now I'm working with that says, I'm not good at that all the time, and her staff is doing the same thing. So I'm working with her on that. But, think about how and why we say that. Let's roll back to our childhood and laugh at ourselves and our mistakes. Okay? Let's have fun again and keep trying, right? Ironically, before I started writing this week's podcast or even thinking about what it was going to be about, I had posted on Instagram a quote that said, do a little more each day than you think you can, from Lowell Thomas. And then the phrase, keep on keeping on, popped in my head. Hopefully you've heard someone say it. I don't know. I say it a lot. I talk to my clients. I share it with them. I love the phrase because it's really all we can do, right? And then I poked around a little bit on the Google, on the internet, and found what this says. The expression keep on keeping on often means to persist in one's efforts, persevere in the face of discouragement or misfortune, to hang in there, don't quit, keep on going. Although it's used as a positive saying, there are some of you that'll take it down that negative path, right? Keep on plodding along, just doing the same thing over and over. But those of you that do that or take it that way and as a negative connotation, it probably means you do that with many things in your life, right? And use it as an excuse. So for this purpose, let's keep on keeping on by persevering. Yes, you're going to have to zig and zag and modify and adjust, but you only do that, and you don't know if you need to until you do your progress checks. Otherwise, that's what you're just doing, is keeping on, plodding along, right? And eventually you'll get bored and quit or burn out. But with the mindset that keep on keeping on is to keep persevering and going forward in the face of any sort of misfortune or discouragement is what we're talking about. And get ready, because we are halfway through March and this is the end of the first quarter. So it will be time to do your progress checks. So this is your little wake-up call, right? You need to check on your 90-day goals here next week in the podcast. I will remind you, we'll go through that. But, looking at what's going on, how you're progressing, what's getting in the way. And spring is here, right? So the weather is crazy, but that's what life is, right? Always changing. And much like the little spring flowers, we can see some green popping up out of the ground. That tends to be how people are in the middle of March. They're like, oh shit, where'd January and February go? I'm here. Okay, I'm paying attention now. Look at me. And here's what I'm doing. And so this is your wake-up call. It's time to get a move on. All right? And just a quick story about keep on keeping on. I like to share stories about clients. So I had a meeting last week with her, and I've talked about her on a few of the podcasts about really working with a to-do list and learning how to keep her team focused and productive, right? So they've been using their to-do list, and they've been really successful. They were 5 to 7 days behind on orders most weeks, and they got caught up within a week. It was fantastic, right? Well, she had to let a team member go. And They were looking at how they could all step up a little bit, how they could all do a little more than they thought they could. And then just to throw another wrench in it, when shit goes sideways, it goes sideways, right? One team member got sick and was out for 3 days. That's a lot when you're already down a person. So my client and I were talking, and she reminded the rest of her team to really go back and utilize that to-do list. And remember how they had gotten themselves focused, and how they faced adversity, and how they looked at how they could keep going and do a little more each day. And after 1 week, even with that team member still out, they were only 1 day behind on their orders. So that's just fantastic with being down 2 people. That, my friends, is keep on keeping on, right? And they did a fantastic order, and they did a little more each day than any of them thought they could do. All right, so this week I want to hear your stories. So email me, sballard@growingforward.biz, or post in the comment section, post wherever you're listening to this, or message me on any of the social media outlets. Tell me your story of you keeping on, what more you did each day that helped you persevere, right? And if you're ready to give up, give me a call. Message me, email me, sballard@growingforward.biz. Let's get something going so you don't give up, so you don't look at this end of this first quarter and go, oh shit, I'm not sure what I'm doing and how I'm going to get there. All right? Because you can keep on keeping on. I promise you. All right. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Cheers.